The shouting started before sunrise. "I am not your servant," Amara screamed, her voice shaking through the large family compound. The wooden door slammed. Mama Ngozi stood in the hallway silent. Her sharp eyes watched everything. In the courtyard, her eldest daughter-in-law, Ifunanya, threw a metal bowl on the ground. "This house is too old. Too many rules. We are not living in the past." Her husband, Chinidu, tried to calm her. "Lower your voice. Mother will hear you. I want her to hear." Ifunanya snapped. Upstairs, the second daughter-in-law, Zainab, rolled her eyes. "Everyday drama," she muttered. "I just hope the inheritance comes fast." Mama Ngozi heard that. Inheritance. That word had been floating in the house like smoke. Her late husband built this family estate from nothing. Land, gold, cocoa farms, oil shares, respect. And now? Her sons were patient. But their wives? They were counting days. Later that morning, all three daughters-in-law gathered in the dining hall. The youngest, Amina, quietly served tea. No one thanked her. Ifunanya looked at Mama Ngozi directly. "Mother, people are talking. When will you divide the property? It is better to plan early." The room froze. Chinita coughed. "Ifunanya." But she continued. "We all need security." Mama Ngozi slowly placed her cup down. "Security? So this house is not security?" she asked calmly. No one answered. Zainab crossed her arms. "Times have changed, Mama. Traditions don't feed children." That sentence cut deep. Mama Ngozi built this family on tradition. Every marriage ceremony, every harvest festival, every ancestral prayer. Now they called it useless? Only Amina spoke softly. "Mother, tea is getting cold." It was small, but it was respect. Mama Ngozi noticed. That afternoon, she walked alone into the old storage room. Dust covered everything. In the corner sat 6 old brass pots. Dark, dirty, cracked. They belonged to her grandmother. The daughters-in-law always complained about them. "Why keep junk?" Zainab once said. Mama Ngozi touched one pot gently. Then she smiled. "If they only see dirt, let them see dirt." That night she called her lawyer secretly. "I want to prepare something," she said quietly. "A test." The next morning she gathered everyone. "I have decided," she announced. The room became silent. "I will begin giving out family heirlooms before the will is read." Excitement flashed in Ifunanya's eyes. Zainab sat up straight. Even the sons looked surprised. Mama Ngozi continued. "But understand this, what I give you shows what you value." They did not understand her words. But Amina felt something heavy in the air. Something was coming. And it would change everything. Mama Ngozi's eyes moved slowly from one face to another. Greed, impatience, and maybe one honest heart. The test had begun. The drama started again at breakfast. Mama Ngozi did not wait. "I have chosen what each of you will receive first," she said firmly. Ifunanya smiled quickly. "Land documents?" Zainab leaned forward. "Or jewelry?" Mama Ngozi clapped her hands once. The housemaid brought in 3 large brass pots. They were dark, dirty, dull, almost ugly. The room went silent. "What is this?" Zainab asked, confused. "These," Mama Ngozi said, "are family heirlooms. They belong to my grandmother." Ifunanya's face changed. "You are joking." "No," Mama Ngozi replied calmly. "Each wife will take one. Keep it safe. Respect it." Zainab touched one pot with one finger like it was trash. "It smells old." "It is old," Mama Ngozi said. "That is why it matters." Ifunanya laughed softly. "Mother, with respect, these are useless." The word useless echoed. Mama Ngozi's face did not change. "Take them." The sons looked uncomfortable but stayed quiet. Amina stepped forward first. "I will take mine," she said gently. She carried the heavy pot carefully with both hands. Ifunanya rolled her eyes. "Fine," she said, grabbing another one. "I will keep this decoration." Zainab picked the last pot and whispered to her husband. "This is punishment." Mama Ngozi watched everything. Every reaction. Every expression. Later that afternoon, Ifunanya threw her pot on the floor in her room. "Look at this nonsense," she snapped. Her husband Chanita sighed. It is just a pot. No, she said sharply. It is insult. She is testing us. Down the hall, Zainab was already calling a scrap metal dealer. How much will you give for old brass? She asked quietly. In the courtyard, Amina sat on a small stool. She placed her pot in front of her. She did not complain. She brought water, soap, a small cloth. She started cleaning slowly. Mud came off first, then layers of black dirt. Her hands became dirty. Sweat formed on her forehead. But she kept cleaning. Her husband Ibrahim walked outside. You don't have to do that, he said softly. Amina smiled. It belonged to Mama's grandmother. It carries history. It is just metal, Ibrahim said. No, Amina replied. It carries respect. Inside her pot, something felt strange. Heavy. Very heavy. She tapped the bottom gently. It sounded thick, not hollow. She paused, frowned, then continued cleaning. Upstairs, Ifyunanya and Zainab were laughing together. I already found someone to buy mine, Zainab whispered. Good, Ifyunanya replied. I will throw mine away tomorrow. Let us see what she does. They both smiled proudly. They felt clever. They felt free from the junk. But outside, as Amina cleaned deeper around the base, she noticed a small sealed line almost hidden under dirt. Her fingers froze. This is strange, she whispered. She pressed the bottom harder. It did not feel normal. It felt packed, sealed, like something was inside. Her heart started beating faster. Inside the house, laughter echoed. Upstairs, plans were being made. But in the courtyard, Amina had just discovered that this pot was not what it seemed. And somewhere in the hallway, Mama and Ngozi stood quietly, watching. The test was working. And someone was about to lose everything. The sound of metal crashing echoed in the backyard. Ifyunanya had done it. She dragged her brass pot outside and dropped it near the trash pit. I am tired of this rubbish, she said loudly. Chanita looked nervous. What if Mother asks for it? She won't, Ifyunanya replied quickly. She gave it to us. It is ours. Across the compound, Zainab was smiling proudly. The scrap dealer had just left. He carried her pot away in his truck. She counted the small amount of cash in her hand. See, she said to her husband. At least we got something. Her husband looked unsure. It was still Mother's heirloom, it was junk. Zainab cut him off. Both women felt smart. Both felt free. They believed they had removed useless weight from their lives. But in the courtyard, Amina sat quietly with her pot. She had cleaned almost all the dirt. The brass now shone softly in the sunlight. It was beautiful. Old, but beautiful. Still, the bottom felt strange. Too heavy. She turned it upside down. Tapped it again. The sound was solid, not empty. Her hands started shaking. Ibrahim, she called softly. Her husband came closer. What is it? This pot, something is inside. He frowned. That is not possible. Feel it, she said. He lifted it. His eyes widened. It is very heavy. Amina noticed a thin sealed circle at the bottom, almost invisible. She ran her finger along the edge. There is a cover, she whispered. Carefully, they searched for a small tool. Ibrahim brought a knife. Be careful, he said. Slowly, very slowly, they pushed against the sealed edge. The metal cracked open slightly. Amina's breath stopped. Something yellow flashed inside. Bright, shiny, gold, real gold. Small gold bars were tightly packed inside the bottom of the pot. Amina covered her mouth. Oh my God. Ibrahim stepped back in shock. This is not just an heirloom. They looked at each other. They both understood. This was a test. Inside the house, Ifyunanya and Zainab were celebrating with juice and laughter. We are finally free from old traditions, Zainab said happily. Ifyunanya smiled. When the will is read, we will get the real treasure. But they did not know, they had already thrown it away. In the courtyard, Amina gently placed the gold back inside. She closed the bottom carefully. We must not tell anyone, Ibrahim whispered. Amina shook her head. No, we will not hide it. It belongs to Mama. Even if she gives it to us? Yes, Amina said firmly. It is not ours to claim. At that moment, Mama Ngozi stood behind the window. She had seen everything. The cleaning, the discovery, the honesty. A slow smile appeared on her face. The foundation is not fully broken, she whispered. But tomorrow, the real storm would come. Because she had already called for the formal reading of the will. And she planned to ask one simple question: bring me the pots. And when that moment comes, two daughters-in-law will realize they did not throw away junk. They threw away their future. The drama exploded before the lawyer even arrived. Mama Ngozi stood in the center of the living room. Her voice was strong. Bring me the pots. The room went silent. Ifunanya felt her stomach drop. Zainab's smile slowly disappeared. Chinedu cleared his throat. Mother, why now? Mama Ngozi did not blink. Because today the will is being read. The lawyer, Mr. Adewale, adjusted his glasses and opened his file. Before I begin, Mama Ngozi said calmly, I want my grandmother's pots returned. Ifunanya forced a small laugh. Mother, I thought they were gifts. They were, Mama replied. But gifts show character. The room felt heavy. Zainab looked at her husband. He avoided her eyes. Ifunanya spoke first. Mine cracked. It was too old. Mama Ngozi tilted her head. Where is it now? Silence. In the trash, Chinedu said quietly. A small gasp filled the room. Mama Ngozi turned to Zainab. And yours? Zainab swallowed hard. I sold it, it was just scrap metal. The lawyer stopped writing. Even the sons looked shocked. Mama Ngozi nodded slowly. Scrap metal. She repeated the words softly. Then her eyes moved to Amina. And you? Amina stood up calmly. I cleaned mine, Mama. She walked outside and returned carefully. In her hands was the shining brass pot. Clean. Beautiful. Respected. Everyone stared. It looked completely different now. Mama Ngozi's eyes softened. Place it here, she said. Amina gently set it on the table. Mama Ngozi looked at her sons. Open it. The room froze. Ifunanya laughed nervously. It is empty. Zainab crossed her arms. Yes, just old metal. Mama Ngozi gave Ibrahim a small nod. He turned the pot upside down. He pressed the hidden seal. The bottom opened. And gold bars spilled onto the table. The sound of heavy gold hitting would echoed through the room. Silence. Pure shock. Ifunanya stepped back. That is impossible. Zainab's face went pale. Mama Ngozi's voice was calm but powerful. Each pot carried gold sealed inside. The lawyer looked stunned. Chinedu whispered, Mother, you mean yes, she said firmly. The wealth was hidden inside what you called useless. Ifunanya's voice broke. We didn't know. Mama Ngozi looked directly at her. That is the point. Tears filled Zainab's eyes. I can get it back. I will call the dealer. Mama Ngozi shook her head slowly. The test is not about money. The room felt smaller. Heavier. She stood tall. I needed to see who values family history and who only sees profit. Her eyes rested on Amina. You cleaned it without knowing what was inside. Amina lowered her head. I did it because it belonged to you, Mama. Mama Ngozi's voice softened. And that is why you will never be poor. Ifunanya started crying. Zainab looked destroyed. But the biggest twist was still coming. Mama Ngozi turned to the lawyer. Now read the will. And everyone realized this was not just about pots. It was about the future of the entire family legacy. The room was still shaking from the gold reveal. No one spoke. Even the air felt heavy. The lawyer, Mr. Adewale, cleared his throat. I will now read the final will of Madame Ngozi Okoye. Ifunanya wiped her tears quickly. Zainab sat straight, trying to stay calm. Amina stood quietly beside her husband. Mama Ngozi did not sit. She remained standing. Strong. Proud. The lawyer began reading. To my 3 sons, I give my love and my blessing. But the control of my estate will go to the one who protects our family values. The room went silent again. Ifunanya leaned forward. Zainab held her breath. The lawyer continued. The cocoa farms, the land titles, the oil shares, and the family house will be placed under one managing trustee. Chinedu whispered, Mother, what does that mean? Mama Ngozi spoke clearly. It means one person will control everything. Shock filled the room. Zainab's voice trembled. You cannot give everything to one wife. Mama Ngozi looked at her calmly. I can. The lawyer adjusted his paper. The managing trustee of the Okoye estate will be Amina Ibrahim Okoye. The words hit like thunder. Ifyinanya stood up suddenly. No, this is unfair. Zainab's face turned red. She is the youngest. She has no experience. Chinita looked confused. Ibrahim, say something. But Ibrahim remained quiet. Mama Ngozi raised her hand. Enough. Her voice was powerful. This house is breaking. You fight over money. You laugh at tradition. You see no value in history. She turned to Ifyinanya. You threw away your blessing. She turned to Zainab. You sold your future. Tears rolled down both their faces. Mama Ngozi then faced Amina. You protected what you did not understand. You respected what others insulted. Amina's eyes filled with tears. I never wanted power, Mama. I know, Mama Ngozi replied softly. That is why you deserve it. The lawyer continued. Amina will manage the estate. Profits will be shared equally among the sons. But all final decisions will pass through her. The twist was bigger than gold. The greedy wives would now answer to the one they ignored. Ifyinanya whispered angrily, this is humiliation. Mama Ngozi shook her head. No, this is justice. Zainab suddenly stood. I will get my pot back. Mama Ngozi's expression changed. You may try. But deep down, everyone knew the scrap dealer was gone. The trash pit had already been burned that morning. The lost gold was truly lost. Mama Ngozi walked slowly toward Amina. She held her hand. True wealth is not gold, she said. It is character. The sons looked ashamed. The wives felt exposed. And Amina? She felt scared. Because now, the real challenge was not finding gold. It was holding a broken family together. And outside the compound gate, news was already spreading. The Okoye estate had a new head. And not everyone was happy about it. The attack came at night. A loud bang hit the front gate. Amina woke up immediately. What was that? She whispered. Ibrahim rushed to the window. Someone is outside. Another loud hit. Metal shaking. Voices shouting. Open the gate. Inside the house, fear spread fast. Ifyinanya ran out of her room. Zainab followed behind her. What is happening? Zainab cried. Chinita grabbed a flashlight. Mama Ngozi walked out slowly, but her face was serious. Stay calm, she said firmly. Outside, angry voices continued. Then someone shouted loudly, we heard about the new head of the estate. Another voice added, you cannot change old agreements. Amina felt her heart pound. Old agreements? Ibrahim looked worried. He turned to his mother. Mother, what agreements? Mama Ngozi's silence said everything. Finally, she spoke. Years ago, your father borrowed money to save the farms during a bad season. The sons stared at her. You said everything was paid. Chinita said. It was, she replied. But some men never forget power. Another heavy bang hit the gate. Wood cracked. Amina stepped forward. Let me speak to them. Everyone looked at her in shock. It is your first night as trustee. Zainab snapped. And now enemies are here. Mama Ngozi studied Amina's face. Then she nodded. Go. But speak with strength. Ibrahim tried to stop her. It is dangerous. Amina looked at him calmly. If I lead this family, I must not hide. The gate opened slightly. 3 men stood outside. Rough faces. Hard eyes. One stepped forward. You're the new decision-maker? Amina swallowed, but kept her voice steady. Yes. He laughed coldly. You are young. Maybe, she replied. But I listen before I speak. The men exchanged looks. The leader continued. Your father-in-law promised partnership in land development. We never received full share. Mama Ngozi stepped closer behind Amina. That promise ended years ago. The man shook his head. We have papers. Chinita whispered angrily, this is blackmail. Amina raised her hand gently. Bring the papers tomorrow morning, she said calmly. We will sit. We will check everything. The leader stared at her. No police? No police, Amina replied. Only truth. Silence. The men looked confused. They expected fear. They expected shouting. But not calm strength. Finally, the leader nodded. Tomorrow. They left. The gate closed. Inside the compound, everyone exploded. This is your fault. Ifyinanya shouted. The moment you took control, problems came. Zainab added, we should have divided everything and left. Amina felt tears forming. But Mamangozi spoke loudly. Enough. The house fell silent. This is not about gold anymore, Mamangozi said. This is about leadership. She looked at Amina. Tonight was your real test. Amina's hands were still shaking. I am scared, she admitted. Mamangozi smiled softly. Good leaders are not those who feel no fear. They are those who stand anyway. But upstairs, Ifyinanya and Zainab were not done. They closed their door. And Ifyinanya whispered something dangerous. If we cannot control the estate. Zainab looked at her carefully. Then maybe we remove the one who does. The real war inside the family had just begun. The next morning, the house was too quiet. Too calm. Amina woke up early. She could not sleep well. Today the men were coming with the papers. Today she had to prove she was strong. She walked into the dining hall. Ifyinanya was already there. Smiling. Too sweet. Good morning, trustee, she said softly. The word felt sharp. Zainab joined her. We made breakfast for you, she added. Amina felt something strange in the air. But she stayed polite. Thank you. Mamangozi entered the room slowly. Her eyes moved from one face to another. She noticed everything. The gate opened again around noon. The three men returned. This time they carried a brown envelope. The family gathered in the sitting room. The leader placed the envelope on the table. These are the signed agreements, he said. Amina opened the file carefully. Old documents. Old signatures. Her late father-in-law's name was there. Chinita looked confused. I never saw these before. Mamangozi's face turned serious. These papers are incomplete, she said. The leader smiled slightly. Read page 4. Amina turned the page. Her heart stopped. There was a new signature at the bottom. Fresh ink. Dated last week. She looked closer. Her breath became heavy. It was Ibrahim's name. The room exploded. What? Ibrahim shouted. I never signed this. Ifyinanya gasped loudly. Oh my God, Ibrahim, how could you? Zainab shook her head. This is betrayal. The men crossed their arms. The agreement was renewed. We have legal rights. Amina's hands trembled. She looked at her husband. Tell me the truth. I swear I did not sign anything, Ibrahim said firmly. Mamangozi stood up. Show me the signature. She studied it carefully. Then she looked at Amina. This is not his writing. The leader frowned. It matches his ID copy. Zainab suddenly spoke. ID copy? Who had access to that? Silence filled the room. Everyone slowly looked at the same direction. The family office. Only family members entered there. Amina's mind started racing. Last week, she remembered something. Ifyinanya had asked Ibrahim for his ID. She said it was for school registration forms. Amina turned slowly. Ifyinanya, why did you need his ID? Ifyinanya froze. For paperwork. What paperwork? Chinidu asked sharply. Her voice shook. I was just helping. Mamangozi's eyes became cold. Helping who? The room felt like it was burning. Zainab stepped back. I did not know about this, she said quickly. Ibrahim looked at his brother. Chinidu, did you know? Chinidu's face was pale. No, the men outside were getting impatient. Enough drama, their leader said. The agreement is signed. Amina suddenly stood straight. Her fear disappeared. This signature is fake, she said clearly. We will send it for verification. The leader laughed. And if it is real? Amina looked directly into his eyes. Then I will step down. Shock filled the room. Mamangozi stared at her. This was risky. Very risky. The leader thought for a moment. Then he nodded. 3 days. They left again. The door closed. Silence. Then Mamangozi spoke quietly. Truth is coming. Amina looked at Ifyinanya. Tears were falling from her eyes. But were they real? Or another act? The family was breaking again. And this time, it was not about gold. It was about betrayal. And in 3 days, someone's true face would be exposed. The morning sun fell softly over the Okoye compound, but inside, tension was thick. Mama Ngozi walked into the courtyard, her hands folded. Her eyes were sharp, like a hawk watching everything. "This ends today," she said, her voice low but firm. All the family gathered. Sons, wives, even the servants paused in silence. "Ifunanya," Mama Ngozi began, "you threw away your pot without thinking. You mocked tradition and lost your chance." Ifunanya's lips trembled. I didn't know." "You did not know? Or you did not care?" Mama Ngozi's gaze pierced her. Zainab stepped forward, her face pale, voice shaking. "Mama, I sold mine. But I never wanted to hurt the family." "You sold it for nothing. You sold your own fortune," Mama Ngozi said slowly. "True wealth is not what you see. It is what you protect when no one is watching." The youngest daughter-in-law, Amina, stepped forward. Her brass pot, polished and shining, sat on the table in front of her. She had cleaned it carefully. Hidden inside was the gold her honesty had preserved. Mama Ngozi smiled, her eyes softening. "Amina, you honored what we built. You respected family history. You did not act out of greed." Amina bowed her head. "I only wanted to respect you, Mama. And because of that," Mama Ngozi said, turning to the family fortune will be entrusted to you. You will manage the estate, not for power, but for the family's honor and future." Gasps filled the room. Even the sons could not hide their shock. Ifunanya sank to her knees, tears falling. "I lost everything because I was selfish." Zainab covered her face, sobbing quietly. "I thought I was clever. I was wrong." Mama Ngozi's voice was calm, but final. "Let this be a lesson. Money can vanish, gold can be hidden, but respect and character cannot be stolen." Amina looked at the shining pots. The weight inside was no longer just gold. It was trust, honesty, and the values that held the family together. Mama Ngozi raised her hand. "From today, our family legacy will continue, but only if it is protected with care, love, and truth. The future belongs to the one who knows the past." The sons nodded. The greedy wives had learned their lesson, painfully, publicly. Amina looked at Mama Ngozi. "I will not fail you." Mama Ngozi placed a hand on her shoulder. "I know, child. You carry more than gold now. You carry our hearts, our history, our trust." The house felt calm, strong, and alive once again. And as the family gathered, one truth became clear: greed destroys, honesty preserves, and respect for family and tradition is the greatest treasure of all. The Okoye estate was no longer just a house of gold. It was a house of values, lessons, and legacy. Amina's victory was complete. Not just in gold, but in truth. Because in families, in history, and in life, truth always wins. Your subscribe and like can make a huge difference for me. It motivates me to keep putting my heart into every story I create. So please support and show your love by subscribing.